Good evening and welcome to the Franchise Tag Podcast with me, your host, Freddie Hall, joined once again by Andrew Manning, Adam Martin, back again, and a very special episode for you tonight for the old fan, the new fan, and the UK NFL fan. It is official. It is back. The alternative mock draft. We have done these before. We're not as big a channel as we are now, so it maybe didn't get the traction it did, but the traction it did get was some negative, some positive, and a bit of piss taking as well, because this is the alternative mock draft. It is a totally different mock draft, just like it said in the little description before you started watching the episode. This mock draft is going to be totally different to anything that you've seen out there. I'm going to break it down for you, and this is how it's going to work tonight. The alternative mock draft is something me and Andrew came up with as a spin-off from a regular mock draft, which was I would pick the position of need for the team and Andrew would pick a player from his pool of players that are coming out in the NFL draft this year. It's going to be the same principle tonight, only me and Adam are going to do alternating picks. Andrew's going to be picking the player. The big thing with this is there's no trades. And really it is the utmost, what do they need right away for them to get? Where is their weak spot? Is what they should be drafted for. It doesn't matter about what they can get in the second, the third round, how valuable that position is, etc. A lot of it is maybe someone's own personal view or feeling of that team. Some of it is going to be completely balmy and completely crazy, and you're going to be critiquing us, and that's completely fine. We're having fun with it. It's a great laugh. It's great to see Andrew's knowledge of players that would go down. I'm sure maybe there'll be some positions we pick where Andrew it completely left field for him, and he has to pull some name out the hat. Out of his big Ohio State hat that he can pull out and think of somebody that he didn't even realize was going to happen. This can go in loads of different avenues, and it's totally crazy, and it's so much fun that we're going to be doing it again. Before we start off, though, big news today in the NFL world. Deebo Samuel looking to be on the move. He's wanting a trade out of San Francisco. It seems pretty much like some teams that are on the block to try and get him. It's probably going to be a couple of first-round picks. We're probably going to see a similar transition with just like the Tyreek Hill trade that happened earlier this season. Andrew, Adam, I mean, there's a couple of teams involved that are looking at him. Andrew, I'll start with you. Where's your best bet that Deebo's going to end up? I mean, he's such an immense talent, right?
Yeah, such a great talent. And I think people knew something like this was coming a long time ago. I think after the Tyreek trade, people were saying there's another one to come. So maybe this has been brewed behind the scenes for a little while. For me, I like him going to the Colts. I think they've got the cap space. They might not necessarily have as many picks to give away as possible, but they've definitely got a big enough depth in their squad to maybe pull out and give him some players in that trade as well. But yeah, I like the Colts of the names that are being named that he could land at.
You like the Colts, Adam? Who are you liking?
Yeah, I kind of, I'm sort of in agreement, to be honest. I do think the Colts seems the obvious place, and I do think they can make it work. I understand that the pick, as has been said, is a little bit unlikely with that as a problem, but it depends how much in the future the San Francisco 49ers are willing to take the pick. So I do like them. Would love to see him in Green Bay, of course, but I can't see it happening. We've got the picks, we've got the cap space, which is a weird thing for a Packers fan to say. But I just can't see them being willing to trade to another NFC team. The only other team that does come to mind is the Jets, because they have the draft picks, they have the cap space, and they're not in the NFC. So I could see that happening, but I do feel like the Colts are the most likely, although the 49ers have just come out and said they have no intention of trading him. But then that was obvious what they were going to say that. So.
Well, it's a bizarre world out there. We've had a very bizarre offseason. It could be even further craziness to happen with Deebo Samuel, the 49ers. As soon as anything happens, if anything happens tonight, we'll be definitely reporting it. But like I said, the forefront of our minds is the alternative mock draft. It's going to be fast-paced. It may not be as much detail as you like about the players, but it's going to be quick. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be totally bizarre at times. I have been given the first pick, which is the Jacksonville Jaguars pick. Adam said that being the host, being the main guy, I should be leading the way as our gracious leader here on the Franchise Tag Podcast. So without further ado, let's get us kicked off with the alternative mock draft. Jacksonville Jaguars on the clock. They have lots of needs, this team. Lots of needs. But the biggest need I thought they needed straight away, and this, I said it was going to go left field, their safeties are awful. They have Andrew Wingard and they have Rayshon Jenkins. I know the popular thing here is edge. I know that Aiden Hutchinson's probably going to go number 1. But like we said with this draft, it's this ultimate watch. It's not looking at the future. It's looking at what this team needs now and what positions they need. If you look at their edge, they've got Clavon Chason, who is still young, still not really properly seen him in the NFL yet. They've got Josh Allen. Arden Key was very good at San Francisco as well, who's come in there. At Wingard and Jenkins, they're not doing it for me. This team actually top to bottom is not as bad as I think everyone thinks now that the free agency has happened. So safety is going to be my first one on the here, Andrew.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think it's a entirely stupid pick. I mean, it's an obvious one. It's an obvious name. He's probably the best player in the draft. It's Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame. You know, he can play safety, linebacker, cornerback. He can cover a lot of that area. He's a great person. He's the unicorn of the draft. So, you know, I don't dislike that overly. I think he would be great there. So, yeah, Kyle Hamilton.
Is this how we're starting? Is it? We're starting.
Yeah, starting as we need to go on.
Okay, super. Right. So I've got Detroit, number 2. I had a look at them. Obviously, quarterback. You feel like it's not the most important need because they've got Goff, but they do need someone in the future. The other 2 that I kind of, again, it's another team that's got loads of holes in it. It really has. But I feel like you need someone with some presence in that team all the time. Sorry to be really, really boring and kind of like probably what's going to happen here, but I feel an edge is what they desperately do need.
Yeah, with them not coming off the board with the first pick, there is a lot of Detroit fans that are really, really wanting this to happen. Aiden Hutchinson, he's a Michigan boy, so where perfect for him to be than Detroit. There's been people saying they should trade up to 1 just to get him. So that's a great pick. They'll be loving that. It's Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan.
I'm going to go for the number 3, the Houston Texans on the clock. You'll probably see me head down at times right now because I'm trying to write them down so I can remember what we all have and who goes. This team, again, needs everything, just like these top 3 teams. I felt like I could go so many avenues with this pick. You could go tight end feasibly. You could go linebacker. You could go safety. Again, I'm going to stick with maybe what is going to happen on the night, which is edge. It's just Jonathan Greenwood. I think is decent, but I don't think he is that much of a presence. Then you've got Ogbonnia Okoronkwo on the other side. Not seen anything of him. I never really heard him before until I wrote the name down, saw the depth chart. They've been missing someone on that edge threat since JJ Watt. They need a presence in there, and they need really a leader, I think, for the Texans.
Yeah, again, this is another pick that I've seen a lot in mock drafts anyway. I've seen him drop into number 3, and that's Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon. Again, you know, it's going to be stable there. It's going to be great. So that's another good pick for them.
Number 4, New York Jets. Again, another team that is desperate for pretty much anything, to be honest, apart from quarterback, as they're going to stick with Wilson. Lots of areas that they need help. Edge, wide receiver, corner, you know, a lot of holes. Obviously they got another pick later on, but for number 4, just to throw in a bit of a curveball, I think we'll go wide receiver on this one rather than edge. They do need a wide receiver. Jameson Crowder's not there anymore, I believe. No. Who have they got at wide receiver? Actually,
Corey Davis, Elijah Moore.
They got Elijah Moore. So, you know, they could do with someone decent. So I'm going to go for wide receiver, take the first one off the ball.
Yeah, I don't think you're being overly wrong in what we're picking here at all. I've got them on my actual real mock draft, taking a wide receiver. And we're going to see maybe a lot of Wilson to Wilson, because I think it's got to be Garrett Wilson going to them. He could be a number 1 receiver. He can really change a team like Jamar Chase has done. So, Garrett Wilson from Ohio State going to the Jets. That's real disappointing for me to say.
The wrong side of New York for you, I suppose. It should have been the blue side. We go on to 5, your New York Giants, Andrew. I'm sure you're itching to know what I've got you've taken with your first pick. And actually, I will have your second pick as well. So I'll probably equally annoy you with both the picks. Giants, top to bottom, there is... You could do with a little bit of everything, but I don't dislike the bones of this team at all. I think the bones of this team, the key players are very good. What I do think is you addressed it last year with Azeez Ojulari, and you have got that in Leonard Williams as well. But I like that. I want that edge threat for you, that outside linebacker threat for you. I'm going to go edge or outside linebacker, however you want to phrase it, really, defensive end sort of player. We'll go edge. I just think Ojulari's great. He needs that tandem. Leonard Williams tends to be more the inside guy. You need that guy that's going to tandem with Ojulari. I like a lot of your team when I was looking on the depth chart. I think the bones are good. This would be the immediate upgrade you need on the other side of Ojulari.
Yeah, again, it's someone that I've got to go into the Giants in my actual real mock draft as well. And it's a great pairing for Ojulari because they played together at Georgia. It's Trayvon Walker, as I've just said, Georgia Bulldog. They're going to link up together beautifully. It's going to be a great defense, and we're going to win the league.
Bless him. Right, the Carolina Panthers at number 6. I think this is fairly obvious where they need to go, to be honest. I mean, they definitely have problems on the O-line and the D-line that probably needs help. But I actually think that their defense isn't too bad. They've got some good offensive weapons, but they have Sam Darnold, who sucks, and they have PJ Walker, who sucks more. So we need a quarterback to go to the Panthers.
Yeah, this is going to be the one where if this goes out on social media, you're going to get the most issues with people kicking off because I rate him as being the best quarterback to go. So it's going to be Matt Corral for me from Ole Miss.
I wrote that down before you even said it.
I think he's NFL ready, so he could go in day one. I think the others might need to sit, or they might be just a great gamble to have. But yeah, Matt Corral had a great season with Ole Miss, so why not put in there?
You thought the last pick was going to get people annoyed on Twitter. Number 7, we joked about it, but when you look at the roster, it is actually the truly Ricky Seals-Jones is not the answer for the New York Giants. I could have gone O-line, but I actually sort of agree with you that your O-line's not that bad. The only position I thought outside of that edge threat with Ojulari was like tight end. Your tight ends are awful. Ricky Seals-Jones has been awful for a very long time. I know it's a wild pick at 7. I said, though, with this alternative mock draft, it's the immediate needs we are addressing. It's not the future. It doesn't matter about when this position would go in the draft. You're going to take a tight end. I know it's going to annoy you. That's why I sort of enjoy it even more.
We do need a tight end. So I've done quite a bit of homework on who I'd like to take later on in the draft. I've got him 3rd on my board, so I feel that's a bit unfair for me to take him off so early. So would you feel that we should take the best tight end available off of the board, or do you want the person who I think would fit best for the Giants?
I think it's your opinion on it, really. Because if we did it best person available, you go BPA for each pick for each person. You've got to take into account if they would work in that team, I suppose.
Well, Trey McBride is the best tight end in this draft by quite some way. I think he'll be the first one to go quite easily. But the guy I really like having at the Giants is Isaiah Likely from Coastal Carolina. I just think he's a great receiver. I really like him, and he's similar height, similar weight, similar build to Evan Ingram. So I just feel like it's going to be a light replacement. We can leave. A lot of people are saying that Likely's a bit too short to play tight end. But Ricky Seals-Jones, massive on the other side of it. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that one. Yes.
One question. When you say like, is he like with injuries as well? Because that would be a problem.
Yeah, no, not on the injuries. You remember how good he was before.
I'm just making sure. Well,
we don't know. He could come in. He could get injured all the time.
Right, number 8, the Atlanta Falcons. Again, I looked at quarterback. Matt Ryan not there, but they have got Mariota on a 2-year deal. I do think they'll probably go with him. That seems to be how it feels at the moment. And I don't know. They might take a quarterback in the draft and give him a bit of a competition, but I think Mariota will probably win out. The other thing is, although they do have a lot of holes in different areas, I do think that they need weapons for Mariota. They have got Kyle Pitts, and that's it. So we're going to have our second wide receiver come off the board.
Yeah, I think it's the perfect receiver for them. We've mentioned it before on the podcast. I think we spoke about this a few times. It's Drake London from USC. The guy's the biggest receiver in there. He's quick. He can win the contested catches. He's just going to be great on the outside, downfield. It's just what you need when you've lost the guys that they have. So it'll be a great weapon just to throw the ball up and let him do his thing.
We go on to number 9, which is the Seattle Seahawks. And this was quite easy for me here. You could go tackle here. I have zero confidence in Drew Lock. We're taking a quarterback.
Okay, Freddie, you're going to be unhappy with this one because the
I know.
Perfect fit for them. He's second off my board. It's Malik Willis from Liberty. You know, he could just fit into reading off of the playbook that Russell Wilson had and do his thing. So yeah, that could be interesting.
Don't worry though, because you know you're probably going to get Kenny Pickett in real life anyway, so you might get Kenny Pickett in this one. So you know, especially as I'm doing the even one. So
I have just realised when writing him up, I was like, oh, he's got my pick. Oh, he's got my. However,
right,
and you've got your first Packers pick as well. So
at number 10, we've got the New York Jets back on the board again. We went wide receiver last time. Edge and corner, I feel, are the two obvious ones. Like I said, I'm going to go corner just because I think they do need a little bit of help, maybe a little bit more there than edge. I know that the number 1 corner is still on the board, so I think they'd be very happy with this.
You said the number 1 on the board. Is it my number 1 or the number 1? Yeah, why not? Why not take the one that I think is the best? They're going to take Derek Stingley from LSU. I feel like you guys have purposely wrecked this up just to try and annoy me of the players that I love in the draft, just sending them to teams I don't want them to go to. So yeah, that'd be great. He's NFL ready. He's brilliant.
Right, I move on to the Washington Commanders at 11. Now, I'm very torn because if you look at their cornerbacks, they have Fuller and Jackson, and then that's it. And then they have Benson Juiced, who's no. Wide receivers, you can make out like they have McLaurin, and that's it. But Cam Sims ain't bad. Curtis Samuel, if he can actually stay on the field, would be good. I don't dislike De'Ami Brown either. I'm going to go with wide receiver just because I think McLaurin is the outlier, whereas I think Fuller and Jackson are both very good, and it would just be depth. So I'm going to go for wide receiver for the Commanders.
Yeah, it's getting worse for me. Sending another one of my Ohio State boys to Washington. It's Chris Olave from Ohio State. I mean, I've been banging on about him every single show for like the past 6 shows. So, and during the season. So yeah, that's an easy one. I think he's fantastic. He could do great things there with McLaurin as well. There you go. They're both Ohio State players. They're just, never
played at the same time together though. No.
Right, number 12, the mighty Minnesota Vikings are up on the board. Really difficult one I found with the Vikings. To me, I think they're very much O-line, D-line. I don't think there's really a great deal else. I did think corner is a potential issue for them, but they have re-signed Patrick Peterson, so I was a little bit like, don't know. I do feel like O-line, D-line is something that they need to go for. So I'm going to go for the D-line.
Okay. Do you want them to put pressure on the quarterback or stop that run?
Just stop that run. It all goes through Cook and Mattison, doesn't it, as running back? So I think that's their first priority, is that, and just to help stop the run and sort of like I think that's something they want to do. Yeah, I've gone completely around the wrong way.
What are you talking about? They might be stopping them in training.
Yeah. Stop the other run. Yeah, stop the other run, would you?
Yeah, so it's Jordan Davis. Again, it's a college that we've all heard of. It's Georgia, from the SEC. We're going to hear their name a lot, so that's another one for them. Best at stopping the run in college by a long way.
He could work well next to Dalvin Tomlinson. Texans, for me, 13. I am going wide receiver here. They went with edge and they took Kayvon Thibodeau earlier with my pick, so I'll go for wide receiver. They've got Brandon Cooks, and then it's just a whole lot of with Philip Dorsett, Chris Conley, Deshaun Hamilton, Nico Collins, Chris Moore. I didn't mind Nico Collins last year, admittedly, but it's all bit part people. They're not. None of them have been that successful in their careers. I know Dorset, I think, has a Super Bowl ring, I think, with the Patriots at one point, but no one is an outlier number one here. I'm going to go wide receiver for the Texans.
Yeah, they've got a good name coming in for them. Then it's Jameson Williams from Alabama. He's just been fantastic for them. He's another product of that Alabama wide receiving core that we've seen work so well over the last few years in the NFL. So they're going to get a stud there.
Baltimore Ravens up next. I think that the obvious one is edge. I have to say, I think given that they tried to bring in Zadarius Smith, it all kind of fell apart. I think that's definitely a hole that they need filling. So I'm going to go for edge for Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm going to put in an edge for them that I think people have forgot about. And I don't know why they forgot about him, because before the season started, people were raving about him. Season finished, raving about him. Then the combine came and everybody stopped talking about him, despite the fact he was fine. And that's George Kalafdis from Purdue, plays in the Big Ten. It's a competitive league. So I don't know why people aren't talking about him. So, yeah, get your money on him. He's going to be a first rounder.
Okie dokie, 15. I've got the first of the Eagles picks. I am going to go for, once I find my notes. Bear in mind, when I wrote these notes, obviously I didn't know what pick I was getting, so I did do that different picks with the Eagles, I suppose. But I the one I thought was more important at the time, I think is cornerback. Actually, top to bottom, this roster's not bad in a lot of areas. And O-line's really good. D-line's pretty good. But the corners, it's Darius Slay and Avonte Maddox are decent, but they're both quite old now. I like everything else that they've got on this Eagles roster. Apart from wide receiver, which is funnily enough what I put for their 18th pick, which could still happen maybe once Adam gets around to the Eagles pick. But I'm going to go corner for the Eagles. So they've got their corner for the future here.
Yeah, it's the bloke that's come out with all the right statistics. They've managed to come out this low down with Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati. Yeah, can anyone see him dropping this far? I don't think so.
Well, just before Adam's pick, we'll have a quick recap from 1 to 15 because we're at the halfway point. We had Carl Hampton going number 1 for the Jags, number 2 Aiden Hutchinson to the Lions, Texans Kayvon Thibodeau, the Jets Garrett Wilson, the Giants Trayvon Walker, the Panthers going quarterback Matt Corral, the Giants going the tight end Isaiah, and I don't know whether he said lightly or likely, it's Isaiah either way. He's a tight end going at number 7 for the Giants. 8, we have the Atlanta Falcons taking Drake London. Seahawks get their QB of the future in Malik Willis. Jets take a corner with Derek Stingley. The Commanders go Chris Olave, that joint Ohio State wide receiver there. Jordan Davis, the defensive tackle, going to the Minnesota Vikings. Jameson Williams going to the Texans. Ravens taking George Karlaftis. And the Eagles just taking Sauce Gardner. No tackles off the board yet. So we have Evan Neal and Ike Ekwonu dropping. Lots of other names I'm sure are going to be coming up. Some names that you'd seen in other mocks might not even appear in our mock draft, but we'll carry on at number 16 over to Adam with the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, the Saints are on the board. A lot of talk about quarterback, but I think they like Jameson Winston, he needs someone to throw it to. That's what he really needs. And it's like Michael Thomas is coming back, but we don't know how fit he's going to be, whether he's going to be the old Michael Thomas or the not so good Michael Thomas. And aside from him, am I right that it's basically Marquez Callaway, and that's about it really for the Saints receivers? So we're going to go wide receiver.
Yeah, and if they've got Michael Thomas on the outside, they're going to need a guy to sweep that middle. And the perfect person for me to do that with great hands is Jahan Dotson from Penn State out of the Big Ten. I think he'll be perfect at that. A lot of people have got him dropping out of the first round, but I like that fit there. That's a real nice pick, that is. I think he complements the team well.
Okay, 17 on to me, the LA Chargers. There is so much strength in this team, and they've done so much this offseason to make this squad really, really strong. The one position I think they need, is either tackle/guard. I'm going to go tackle because I know the 2 tackles on the board as well. They've one side is sorted. Rashawn Slater, Matt Filer, then Corey Linsley in the middle. The other side is Brendan James and Storm Norton is meant to be their starters. At Storm Norton, it wasn't bad last year, but I think you need if you've got Slater and then your other tackle bookend for Justin Herbert for the future. I mean, this franchise is going to be absolutely ecstatic with that.
Yeah, I think maybe right tackle, but yeah, definitely going to look at something for their O-line, aren't they? There is a guy out of the two top names of Evan Neal and Ike Ekwonu. I just feel like Ike can play a bit more of the positions. Evan Neal's like a standout. Just I'm a left tackle and I can do that better than everyone else. So I'm going to take Ike for them from NC State. Just think it fits a bit better than Neal, despite the fact that he's a tackle.
Yeah, number 18, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles back again for another pick. As Freddie suggested, we are going to go wide receiver. They do. I think they've got Smith and obviously got a tight end, but they need more. They just need more weapons on there. So I think because of that, I think we're going to go for wide receiver for the Eagles.
You're not going to be happy, Adam, because they're taking the guy that you really like. I know you've watched a lot of tape on him, and he's a bit of a gamble, but if he pays off, he'll be fantastic. It's Treylon Burks from Arkansas. You know, he's out of the SEC. The Razorbacks had a great year, and he was the main part of that. So that's going to be a great pick for them if it pays off.
Apologies, I ran off a moment. My pen decided to run out halfway through, and then we would have never known who we were going to pick throughout this draft. Well, Eagles would be laughing to the bank if they had Sauce Gardner and Jahan Dotson in the Treylon Burks, in the first round there. I've got the second pick. They already taken Jahan Dotson. That's why I said it a moment ago. Get my names mixed up at 16. I'll go for them at 19. 19, I had them taking a wide receiver, so I'll go for what I thought they should take at 16, which is again, this is a strong roster. I think once you add that wide receiver in, it could be really great. I think after that, I would go cornerback. Marshall Lattimore is obviously fantastic, but has been injury prone. Paulson Debo, I really like his potential. PJ Williams is all right. And then that's about it for me. I think you could definitely argue linebacker here. I think but Demario Davis is still so elite, but he is quite old is my only thing. Whereas I think they need that other corner next to Marshall Lattimore that is going to be that lockdown corner with him, especially if he has got injury worries going forward.
Yeah, maybe they should just bring Eli Apple back. It's consistent. It's a guy that's flown under the radar because he's not flashy, but he's a top cornerback. It's Andrew Booth out of Clemson. I saw what he did against Ohio, and he dealt with those wide receivers really well. So, his name should be talked about a little bit more than what it is. So, Andrew Booth.
Number 20, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock. There's so many holes as Andrew. We could go quarterback, O-line, D-line, wide receiver, corner, safety.
Where's D-line? What talk about D-line?
Just a bit of help. Just a bit of help in the middle. That's all they need.
Louder milk.
They've got two great wide receivers.
You need help everywhere. Just deal with it.
You
all right.
do not need help everywhere.
However, there is one significant problem. Big Ben has gone, and we need help because it's Mitchell Trubisky, and that is not help.
Long live Trubiscuits.
We need a quarterback with the Steelers.
I mean,
come on, you know you want to.
I think he can work. For me, if he's going to go somewhere, it could work here. Like I say, he's a bit more of a pocket passer. They're used to that. They've got a great running back, so they don't need him to be scrambling around and running. And they've got a couple of wide receivers that are proven that they can do the business with declining Big Ben. So Kenny Pickett, have his first year there. I think he might be he could work there for me. Out of Pitt, ACC. I've had my doubts with him, but he could fit there nicely.
Oh, baby hands. Oh, dear.
I had cornerback, but
actually no, there as well.
I had cornerback / safety because that's where I think we have the problems. But Trubisky took Chicago to the playoffs. Just remember that.
Blake Bortles took the Jags to the playoffs. Where's he?
And what a legend he was. I mean, yeah, exactly. 21, the New England Patriots. I am going to go cornerback for this pick. Again, a roster I actually really like as well. Jonathan Jones is good, but Jalen Mills is older. Malcolm Butler, come on. I do like Jojuan Williams, who they have, but he's a really good, promising young guy. I think, losing J.C. Jackson, they need to replace him. They've got to replace him.
Yeah, and there's 3 names on the board, but I've got this guy. I think there's just a bit more about him. I just like him more than the other 2. He's a bit more flashy. I think he could be a stud. I think he'll work well at the Patriots. And that's Kaiir Elam from the Florida Gators. Again, it's another SEC team. He's played all the big names. I just think he's one step above the other 2 names that have just played well at college. So, yeah, that's Kaiir Elam for me.
Green Bay time, baby.
Green Bay Packers are on the clock. Wide receiver, please. Anyone will do. Just any. It doesn't matter. We'll take any of them.
Okay. Well, you've got your choice. You could have
any of them. Any.
Six have gone.
I mean, lots of people are saying take a gamble on Christian Watson out of North Dakota State. I'm not sure about players that don't play in Division 1. So I'm going to take I'm going to put you at George Pickens from Georgia, just because I'm not bored of saying the word Georgia yet. So that is a pick for you. I mean, look what they did this year. They won the championship. So, you're not going to get a bad player out of there.
Right, through to the Arizona Cardinals at 23. This is out of the box thinking for you. We're going to take a quarterback because
they don't need one.
They might just need one, because Kyler Murray, he wants a huge contract. I'm living in a world where the Arizona Cardinals say, no, we're not paying you, Kyler. You've been injured far too much. We're not paying you. And you know what they said? He said if they're not paying him, they said he's going to sit out. So I am going to go for the cards of forward thinking here. I'm going to take a swing for the fences and go Kyler Murray doesn't get the contract. I could argue he shouldn't get the contract. I could also argue he should.
Just want to know, Andrew, did you have quarterback down in your notes for the Cardinals at any point?
Never.
No.
Never at any point.
Kyler, it could not that it will. I've gone out the box on this because I do like the Cards roster top to bottom. I do really like it. I just thought it'd be fun. I thought it could be a fun thing. Kyler Murray might not play next year. And then they have who? Who they have? It's McCoy, isn't it? Colt McCoy?
Yeah.
You don't want to start Colt McCoy.
Didn't they take...
You've done him. You've done him in. He can't speak properly.
No, I was going to say, didn't they manage to pick up the backup from Baltimore from last year, Trace McSorley?
I'm going to have a look. I'm going to have a look quickly at their depth chart, because I don't know.
Quarterback, please, Andrew.
My argument might be collapsing, but in front of me here. Trace McSorley's not doing it for me.
It's not.
Neither Colt McCoy.
I think they'd be fine. They'd be quite happy with Colt McCoy, wouldn't they? I mean, he filled in last year. Oh, come on, who's having a? They don't need a quarterback. Okay, quarterback it is. Who do they want? Well, they like a bit of drama. They've got a bit of drama with their current quarterback, so why not let them take Sam Howell from UNC? He's, I think he's the next Baker Mayfield. Looks a little bit like him. He's a little bit like him. So, have a bit of drama.
They could legit trade away Kyler and trade for Baker. That could legitimately happen. So might as well draft Sam Howell.
Right, before we all completely lose our minds, the Dallas Cowboys are now on the clock at 24.
Kyler seriously could not play next year. That's a legit thing.
Do you want a serious conversation about it?
No, I am being serious. You honestly.
Okay.
If you looked at Kyler
I think they have shown when Kyler was out injured that Colt McCoy he's not great, but he has the ability to sort of fill in. So I think they would probably rather go down that route. But it's a theory. I'll give you that.
Okay, joking aside from me picking a quarterback, I've done that a lot just to stir the pot, and it's going to get a lot of people angry, which I love. But legitimately, like what with the Kyler situation, I know he's like Cliff Kingsbury's boy, but doesn't it feel like, even with the Cardinals, even though they went like 8-0 last year, that the Cards feel like they're even sure on Cliff, and it don't feel like they're even sure on Kyler. And Kyler's been known to be a bad leader. he wants to get paid like some of the big boy quarterbacks? Is he a legit big boy quarterback?
Hasn't Cliff Kingsbury just signed a new contract?
That could be true. I don't know.
It could be true. I think so. Didn't he sign a contract till like 2027 or something like that? I may have made that up, but
you may have made that up. 1 second.
I thought he did. I thought he signed a contract with Cliff Kingsbury.
Oh,
this is complete.
They've signed it through to 2027.
Yeah.
This
has completely derailed the whole show. This is genius.
That doesn't mean for the Cards. That doesn't mean for the Cards stick away from the alternative mock draft. That doesn't mean they stick with Kyler.
No, I understand that, but I feel if they're gonna get rid of him, they're gonna have to get a hell of a lot for him, and I don't know who's gonna do that. Yeah.
Andrew, you need to weigh in here. You need to weigh in here, buddy.
He's just stunned. He can't help it. He's done.
We said that we were going to pick people based on what their actual need was. You know, if we were
it's
saying
quarterback for Arizona. If Kyler sits, it's quarterback.
If you were saying like, oh, I think they might need that, whatever, then you know the Giants might trade James Bradbury, and that might change who we might need. But you know, I think that's more on the cards than Kyler Murray not playing.
I knew it would rile you up. That's why I did it. No, but actually, aside from the alternative mock draft, what's your opinion on it, Andrew?
I think it will just be like we've had with Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers and people in the past, where they just throw their teddies out. They say they're not going to play, and when push comes to shove, they're suited and booted and playing. What's he going to do? Going to play baseball?
Yeah, that's a legit option.
Yeah,
and then you could definitely take Sam Howell. Anyway,
yeah, that's
onto Dallas, onto one mess to another.
Right, now that all the viewers have gone, right, so we're going to go for Dallas. There's a few. I mean, I really feel like the O-line needs a bit of help. They've lost Collins, they've lost Williams. Just a bit of something to beef it up. So really, anywhere on the O-line just to help them out.
Well, do you want him to take a tackle or an interior?
Take a tackle.
Cool. They're taking Evan Neal. Great.
There you go. That's a good one.
Yes. So your divisional rivals have taken Chris Olave, Sauce Gardner, Treylon Burks, and Evan Neal.
Yeah, three of them that I had mocked. The Giants at some point in my life, I would like them to go there. Yeah, there you go.
And you drafted Trayvon Walker in a tight end.
I'm happy with Trayvon Walker. It's just a tight end. Cheers, Fred.
Funny. The Buffalo Bills. Loads of people seem to be mocking them now, taking a running back in the first, which I think is ridiculous. They need cornerback. They've got Tre'Davious White, and that's it. They've got no one else outside of it. Dane Jackson is their next guy. They've got no one outside of Tre'Davious White, and he didn't even stay fit the whole last year. So I'm going to go corner here.
Okay, next off the board is Trent McDuffie from Washington. Plays out the Pac-12. Definitely first-round talent. I think you'll see him on most people's mocks, roughly going about this point. So that fits quite nicely.
Right, so we got the Tennessee Titans next. There's a few spots I was looking at. I was thinking maybe wide receiver. I know they've got AJ Brown, or at the moment they've got AJ Brown. Who knows what could happen? And Robert Woods. So they've got two decent receivers there. So I kind of feel like it would be not necessarily their immediate need. Another need that I do think they need to address, and something that maybe they will do in real life, is running back as backup for Derrick Henry, but not for this. But for this, I'm going to go O-line. I think they've got about 4 or 5 decent O-linemen, but I feel like they need the depth there in order to be able to help them. That run game is everything for the Titans. So I'm going to go for a lineman, whatever you fancy.
Well, if it's to help with the run game, I feel
the run game,
it's got to be a guard, hasn't it?
Okay, well, we'll have him.
I mean, this guy that's going to fall perfect for them as well. If this is the case, you can play him at tackle, you can play him at guard. He's played all of them at his college, so it'll work perfect for him. They can move him around, and he is so good for for using in the run game, and that's Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M. Again, another SEC team. I'm really hot on this guy. Think he's, for his size, if you saw him at the combine and how big he is, I think his athleticism is quite good for how big this guy is, which is why I think he's more of a guard than a tackle, but he can play everywhere. So that works perfect for you.
I think that pick will happen in the actual draft.
I've got them taking a defensive line. I've got them taking Devonta Wyatt in my real one.
Devonta Wyatt's still on the board. I'm going to go guard as well for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ali Marpet retires. I know they've got in Shaq Mason. They've got Ryan Jensen, the center. They brought him back. The roster's stacked. They've got Aaron Stinney. I mean, they should either draft the heir apparent to Ryan Jensen or like a guard center flexibility player there. They're stacked top to bottom. I think guard, because I think they need to replace Ali Marpet. I know they brought in Shaq Mason, but they need that other guy, I think.
If you think that Jensen's going to leave after a year, do you think he's going to stay around?
I think he stays around as long as Brady. I mean, Brady stays around, I think, really. And if Brady, I think he's got maybe a couple of years in him. I think he's got a couple.
I really like Tyler Lindenboom from Iowa. He's a center. I think he has the potential to play guard.
Okay.
So that would work for them. But if you want them to take an out-and-out guard, then maybe we're looking at a different name.
I think we go for that center guard position. I think we could go for that.
Tyler Lindenbaum from Iowa, Big Ten. He's probably one of the best linemen in the draft. He's top 5 out of the linemen. It's just because of that center position. But like I said, he's a former wrestler at college as well, and he's just great. You can use him in the run, and I think he can. I think he's got the athleticism to play at guard for a year and then move to that center if you need to, and then boss it back at center.
The best team in the NFL are back. The Green Bay Packers are back for another pick.
Are they double dipping on WRs?
I'm really tempted to go for another one, but
there's none left.
I think we need an edge rusher. We do. We need to replace Darius Smith, and the other one is O-line. I think some help on the O-line would be useful, but we got loads of picks. We got second round picks. We can deal with that later on down the line. So we are going to go for an edge rusher.
Yep. Still another absolute stud on the board. It's Jermaine Johnson from FSU, Florida State University, ACC. He was a former product of Georgia, moved over. So, what a great player. Was fantastic at the combine. Really helped his stock as well. So, there you go. Great player to fit in.
Right, I'm going to go out I've got the first of the Kansas City Chiefs picks. Wide receiver seems obvious, and everyone's been mocking that.
Got Juju Smith-Schuster
because that's what I think. They're not bad. They've got MVS, they've got McCall Hardman, they've got Juju. I don't think that's bad, to be honest with you. And they've got Travis Kelce. We forget about that. I think edge or corner is a bit more prominent. I just don't think Frank Clark's it anymore. I just don't. They're paying him an insane amount of money for not much, I don't think, anymore. I'm not that impressed by him anymore. And their cornerback position is thin as well. They've got the Jerry Sneed and Rashad Fenton. That's about it. I'm going to go edge. I just don't. I know Chris Jones is great, but they've been playing Chris Jones as that defensive end spot where he's way better as D tackle. He's, if not the best D tackle in the league when he gets paid. Well, no, actually, tell like Aaron Donald is. But when he's in that middle, he's such a dominant player there. So I'm going to go edge. I think they need that edge threat.
Yeah, maybe this is the perfect place for him to go to as well. Bearing in mind they still have players at that position. It's David Ojabo from Michigan. Would have been sort of in the conversation for top 10, top 15 if it wasn't for his injury got. So yeah, if he's back and he's healthy or he needs a little bit more time, that's perfect for him to go in there. And if he then plays to his potential, what a team to land at. That could be amazing for him. So yeah, David Ojabo going there.
Yeah, so for the second KC pick, I have got exactly the same written down as what you had. I've got wide receiver, edge, corner. I did put safety down as well, just because I feel like the defense might need a little bit of help. But as you've gone edge, I think we'll go receiver. They do need someone. I think they need someone decent. Having done 4 years with MVS, I can tell you he's not Tyreek Hill. And so I think I'm not saying they're going to get Tyreek Hill in the draft, but I do feel like they need someone.
Yeah, Tyreek was from a smaller school as well, wasn't he? He's come from South Alabama, I think. He didn't come from one of the big schools. So let's have them taking a gamble on someone from not one of the big schools again. Let's have them taking Christian Watson from North Dakota State. He is the first player to come off the board that isn't from a Division I team. I thought maybe it was going to be Trevor Penning, but it turns out it's Watson first.
Could Christian Watson fly as well?
He's got some pace about him, mate. Don't you worry about that.
He's exactly like Tyreek Hill. He's 6'4", about 230.
So the Cincinnati Bengals, and with my last pick of the alternative mock draft, I am going for a cornerback. It is a team that I think is really hard to pick for, and you could have easily gone O-line quite easily, and I think they probably will in the draft, but they have just reinforced it with Alex Kappa, Lau Collins. They got Mike Hilton. Yes, Joey Awuzie is pretty good as well. Eli Apple, can he be forgiven after the Super Bowl? I don't think he can be. I think they're going to get a corner.
Yeah, I think maybe at this point they probably want to take one of the safeties and move them around a little bit. But there's still another corner on there that I rate as a first-round prospect. It's Roger McCreary from Auburn, another SEC team. The only reason we're not talking about him is for some reason Auburn are just terrible at the minute. They used to be in the conversation with up there qualifying for the championship, but they've just been awful the last few years, and that's no part of his because he's been quality there. So Roger McCreary.
Right, it's now about 4:30 in the morning in the UK as the last pick is coming in. Who's staying up for the Detroit Lions? Because it's so late, I've actually forgotten what I did for their first pick. Can you remind me, please?
You went Aiden Hutchinson for their second.
I went for an edge. Excellent. Right. Yeah. I'm going to go for a corner. I think they need help everywhere. Like I said before, they could go quarterback, but I mean, they've got Goff on a massively expensive contract for this year. What's the point? I'm going to go corner.
Oh, like this is now stretching the knowledge for the cornerbacks because I feel like after the first 6 go, you're really sort of clutching at straws of who's the next best. For me, there's a name in there. His combine let him down, which is why he's dropped. I'm going for them taking Kobe Bryant from Cincinnati. Cincinnati had a great year. They managed to get to the championship game, which is fantastic for Cincinnati. They're never a team that's in that conversation. So there's some players in that team. I don't think they're like your BYUs where like they have a good year and everyone goes, oh, there's loads of talent in there. I think they're genuine talent. So yeah, I think he's got a chance of being top quality.
And that concludes the franchise tag alternative mock draft. Lots of fun, lots of raised eyebrows, lots of surprises, heated debate, some ups, some downs, some tears, and some laughs of joy for the picks that we did just there. Adam, first time doing the alternative mock draft. Surprised, fun, hated it, never again?
Well, I did it last year.
Did you do it last year? I forgot we did it last year. Sorry, apologies.
But still very confused. Still very confused. Yeah.
I feel like last year we had a bit more sense.
I think it shocked Adam last year that I didn't pick people that were destined already on the draft to go to places. I think I had Justin Fields going to the Jets, and Adam was like, "You've got, but Zach Wilson's going there. You can't pick that." So yeah, I think you've got used to it now.
Yeah, the insanity. I've got used to the insanity of this, and I can understand. Unfortunately, George couldn't be with us tonight, which was a shame because you would have seen the confusion etched across his face for most of this episode as well.
What's worse is he wouldn't have got the Colts pick either. There wasn't even a pick for the Colts.
That's true. So,
do you want a little rundown of some of the names that didn't come off the board?
Yes, please.
So we had no linebackers go. So Devin Lloyd, one of the biggest names on there, didn't go. Nakobe Dean didn't go, obviously. We had no running backs go, which shocks me because I think some teams definitely do need a running back. So Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, Isaiah Spiller, all still on there. We only had 2 offensive tackles go. So Charles Cross, Raymond, Abraham Lucas, all still on there. Trevor Penning. One safety went with the first pick of the draft, and that's all we had. So Adam's bet of there being 2 safeties was shot out there. And Desmond Ridder, he's going to be going in the second round on ours. So,
but Desmond Ridder could have gone to the Cards.
He could have done.
They took Sam Howell.
They took Sam Howell. They took Baby Baker.
So I'll just quickly ask, how many wide receivers went?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 wide receivers, being Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Chris Olave, Jameson Williams, Jahan Dotson, Treylon Burks, George Pickens, Christian Watson. All went.
That might not be too far away from what actually happened.
Potentially. It could potentially happen. I mean, this mock draft, alternative mock draft, I hope you've enjoyed it. I know it's been a bit balmy, a bit crazy, but that's the fun of it. In a mock draft, it's seen Carl Hamilton go number 1 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, but seen 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterbacks come off the board, none being Desmond Ridder. When we've seen, well, who's the dropped the most?
Evan Neal, I would have thought.
I mean, Jermaine Johnson's been mocked in the top 10 for a lot of people.
Yeah, but Evan Neal's been mocked as number
2. 1.
He's the number 1 pick for majority of it. Yeah.
Yeah, in December to February, he was like the number 1 pick, and he's completely dropped there. In a draft that's seen the Giants take Trayvon Walker and the tight end, as they're likely. The Steelers going for Kenny Pickett, the quarterback. The Packers taking George Pickens at the wide receiver, and Jermaine Johnson is your edge, which I think you'd be pretty pleased for.
I'll take that. I'll take that as my first round.
Well, thank you again for joining us for the Franchise Tag Podcast. We will probably be doing a mock draft next week, which will be a bit more realistic, I think. We'll see what happens in the week and see what we decide upon. Hopefully George will be back with us. Like I said, the draft next Thursday. Make sure you book the Friday off work. It's getting nearly too late to do that, so make sure you do that because it goes on into the night, but it'll be a lot of fun. Make sure you get the beers and get the snacks in. Maybe try and watch it with some friends. It's always great fun. And if you are new to NFL, it's definitely an eye-opening thing to watch for the new players coming in. And it's really great fun. So make sure you do that. Do a mock draft of your own, and make sure you comment on our video about this alternative mock draft. Please, can we just remember, this is not like a real proper Bookie Brooks mock draft. Like, get over it. It's a bit of fun, all right? It's an alternative mock draft. It's in their title. Last year, people were having a right goers about it. It's an alternative mock draft. Get over it. But have fun with it. We certainly have fun doing it. Make sure you check out the podcast anytime on YouTube. Like and subscribe. We're also on all the social medias as well. Until then, we'll see you all next week with a bit more of a serious mock draft. We'll see you all very soon. Take it easy.